Hey guys, this is Chris from Critters Rehashed here again, back with another update on my Critters collection, all my stuff that I have. And today's update is going to be VHS and Beta. So I have a lot of different VHS variations, and it's going to take me a little while to get through all these, but I'm going to try to show you what the difference is in each one of the releases. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and start with the original releases that they had. The first Critters movie that was released from New Line and I believe Columbia RCA Pictures just had the Critters standing here on the front. There is another version, I think it might be an Australian release or maybe a UK release, that has the Critter holding a "They Bite" sign. I'm not sure exactly which country that was made for, but there are posters and stuff with that on there, and there are several releases like that. I do not own one of those releases yet. But hopefully in the near future I will be getting one. But as far as the U.S. is concerned, this was the first release for the first Critters movie. And the side, the top, and the back. And the case itself. Now I do remember renting these and stuff from video stores all the time. And this always stood out to me on the shelves whenever I was little. Always loved these movies back then as well. So that's the first Critters movie on VHS. And we jump into the second Critters movie, which is this one. I'm sorry, that's my beta one. The second Critters movie. Got confused there for a second. And we have Critters 2. This one has the the critter ball rolling down there, and it's ripped right here a little bit, but I've had that for a while, so I don't really mind it. But this one has the red outline border, just like the Critters 1 tape does. And we have the sides and the top. This one's covered up by a video rental store sticker, but oh well. And we have this one on the case itself, which this one is also Columbia RCA. That's why they are very similar. So there's that. And let's get to Critters 3. The original Critters 3 release. Side, top, and the back. Now this one does have several different versions, and I will show you those a little bit later on in the video, because there are some stuff where once Leonardo DiCaprio got popular, they started re-releasing this, focusing on him being on the case, and I'll show you that in just a moment. I do have that release. That is Critters 3. And for the Critters 4, we have the critter in the space, side, top, and the back. And I'm sure everybody is familiar with these first 4 releases here. They're the most popular out of all of them. So let's get into a few of the off ones. Like the ones that aren't really seen much, aren't really released very much. And they were released a little bit later on in New Lines, like in the mid to late 90s. But first off, we have Critters 2. Let's go ahead and do Critters 2. I don't have any other version of Critters yet. But this one's Critters 2. This one doesn't have the red border like the other one does. Like, if I can just compare the two here. This one has the red border and this one does not. And this one is kind of zoomed in a little bit. And the writing of the title is up on top instead. And it says "They're back for seconds." And this one doesn't have anything on there subtitle-wise. The sides for this one. And the back. And the back is a little bit different, as you can see here. This was the one I always remember seeing on video shelves, not this one. I don't think I ever saw this one to rent. I always saw this one, and I only got this one whenever I actually bought this brand new when it came out. As a re-release. This is the only time I saw this one. But let's go into Critters 3 now. Critters 3 here has several different releases. This one looks very similar to the other Critters 3. And as you can see, they are almost exactly the same. I think they are exactly the same as the front. But what makes them a little bit different is the back here. This is the back. And as you can tell, they look very, very similar, but there's more writing on this one, because this one actually says, it's got the exact same writing as this one does, but at the end of it, it says, featuring Leonardo DiCaprio, from What's Eating Gilbert Grape and The Quick and the Dead. This was at the start of his popularity with these films, and this one does not say that on there at all, even though that they are the exact same copy and everything exactly the same. Even the tape itself is pretty much the same. And then it gets even worse, because after that, once Leonardo DiCaprio did Titanic, they re-released that again after that, and they got this one here. And they, as you can tell, they put him right up front on the case, and the actual title itself is a little bit different. So let's compare that again. So we have original, re-release, and the back has different writing on there. Got the same images, but as you can tell, that this right here has been a little bit different. And this one actually says Titanic legend Leonardo DiCaprio. The side has him on there as well. I never get these things correctly on the sides here. But this was actually the difference in them. We have 3 different films here. 3 different releases, I should say. And all 3 of them are completely different. So that is Critters 3. And after that, we have another Critters 3. This one is a UK release, I believe. This one has Critters in the City. And we have the sides and the back. And we have tape itself. Now, correct me if I'm wrong if this is a different release than actual, than what I said. It could be another country that released this. I just bought it from somebody who lived in Canada. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. So if you know exactly what one that was from, just let me know and correct me in this. Earlier I said I didn't have any other variations of Critters VHS, but I lied. I do. I actually have this one right here, which is an alternate one. If you compare the original to it here, this one has the red border, and this one does not. And this one says Critters on top instead of on the bottom like this one. And then the back is also a little bit different, but not much. The back to the new one here. And the sides. And this one right here is the tape itself. And I do have 2 copies of this because I'm weird, and I like having as many. If I ever come across them anywhere, at a flea market, pawn shop, whatever, I pick them up. So I actually got these around the same. Actually, got these in the same week. I got lucky enough and found one at a convention. When I got back, I stopped at a flea market and found it again. So I went ahead and picked it up twice. But that's that one right there. And let's go ahead and get started on the other tapes that I have. I actually have promo copies. These are the only 2 promo copies I know of. At first, I picked up Critters 4 promotional copy, and it's exactly like the same as the original release, the front and the back. The only thing different is the promotional copy thing right here. And I didn't know that any of them existed. I saw this one. They were very rare. What they do is, any video store back in the 90s and stuff, 80s and 90s, they would get promotional copies to screen for themselves. The owners would get the copies, they could watch them, or they could play them in the video store, and it would let them know whether or not they need to order more copies if people are interested, or if they think the movie will be a good seller point, they'll order more copies themselves. So what they would do is the companies would make a video at the beginning of the tape that has like a promotional item for the tape itself, and it would have like a voiceover guy talking about the previous releases of the film, like if it's a franchise, and the stars of the movie and how much they made at box office and how much the prequels or the sequels have made at other video rental stores. And it would just give the video store rental some ideas of whether or not they can make any money off the release. And this was the only one that I knew of because it does contain that video at the beginning of it. And one day I came across on eBay Critters 3 promotional video, and I thought, I wonder if this one also has a promotional video that might be different from the one on Part 4. So I bought this one as well. And sure enough, yes, it does. And both of those promotional videos are on the Critters Rehatched YouTube page. Go check them out. They're really neat and very different. And as far as I know, that's the only way you can see it is on either this release here or go to our Critters Rehatched YouTube page. There's nothing different in these except for they do say like screener copy on the release itself. So these were pretty cool finds, and I'm so glad that I actually got these two here, the promotional copies. Next up is a Critters 4. I'm not sure what release this is. It might be an Australian release. I don't know. The guy that I bought it from said that it was an Australian release, but he himself was from Canada, so I'm not sure exactly. It could be a French release too, because there's a... I don't know what release this was. But we have the back here. All the different images. And one thing that I've always been confused about is this is Critters 4, but this and this is from Critters 3. And it seems to be like all the different foreign companies, foreign releases, always have images of Critters 3 on the Critters 4 VHS. And I'm not sure why. It just seems like they always confuse those two. Either from where the movies were made back to back, I don't know if the companies got the films at the same time, and they just assume that they're just one long movie split into one, and they're able to use both of them, or if the promotional materials got mixed up for the companies. I don't know what happened, but you always see Critters 4 VHS tapes with images on the back from Critters 3. And let's look at the tape itself. There we go. And I have to show this off just because it is in my collection, but I actually have a loose Critters 4 VHS copy. One of my friends gave me a box of VHS tapes, and this was in there. It doesn't have a sleeve on it or anything, so I figured I'd keep it anyways just because it's Critters. Have to keep it. I would take all these if I could. If anybody gave me one of these, I'd keep it even if it didn't have a case. And, well, we have a few more VHS tapes here. These are really cool. These are Japanese releases that one of my friends got for me. And I only have 3 of them. I have 2, 3, and 4. I don't have the one for the first one. But this is the one for Critters 2. We got the back. And we have the side. Then we have Critters 3 with the back. I like the back of this one, even though I believe that is from Critters 4, the image on there. And then we have the side. And Critters 4. I always like this one, the critter coming through space. And then we have the back and the side. Now there is another version, not Japanese, but it's another Critters 4 version, and it has like a critter egg with like legs of the critter sticking through the egg and the top of it coming out, and the critter's egg just like floats in space. I don't know what release that is either, but I really, really, really would like to have that one. There are a few other releases from different countries too that I'm trying to get that have different artwork and different stuff like that. And there's one that I had, or that I'm trying to get, that looks very similar to this one, but at the bottom down here, there's pictures from the movie itself. And I don't know, I think it might be an Australian. I keep saying Australian, but that's what I've been told by several people. But they have little images down here, so I'm really interested in getting that one as well. The last thing I want to show you is Beta. Now, I only have one Beta tape, and that is for Critters 2. It looks very similar to the VHS release. They're the same size boxes and everything. The only difference is the tape itself. This is a Beta. As you can tell, it's a lot smaller than, say, the VHS. So, Beta, VHS, and the boxes of everything is exactly the same, except they put a sticker on it that says Beta. That's the only difference in this at all. And I kind of wish they had different artwork for it, but what are you going to do now? So that is my VHS and Beta. Like I said, I don't own the first one. I do plan on getting. I had some opportunities to get one on eBay a while back. They popped up, like 3 or 4 of them popped up on eBay. And I just kept putting it off because of money reasons, and then they all went away. So hopefully I'll be getting one soon to complete that part of the collection. But as far as I'm concerned now, it's not on my high priority. But I would like to get the Critters 3 Laserdisc more than I would the Critters Beta. But I'm definitely looking to get it. So if you have one, you're willing to sell it to me or anything like that, just get in contact with me and let me know if you want to make a good deal on that. But yeah, that's all of my VHS tapes here, and there are still more out there that I need to get and that I want. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this update. I know I kind of rambled on a little bit on a few of them, but hey, I had a lot of them to go through. So thanks guys, and I'll see you on the next update.